You're watching the sports political channel of LB. If you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share these videos on your social media platforms. All right, some breaking news just came into the timeline, and before I get into this meat and potatoes of this, I want to give a salute to Carla Jenkins. She on the last stream provided me this news that the 4 officers who were responsible in the death of Breonna Taylor have been charged. In that drug raid. They face federal charges in that drug raid that led to her death. Now, I'm going to share this article with y'all. I'll put a link in the chat once I get done reading and breaking down this particular article here. Man, crazy, crazy, crazy. Some crazy news going on right now, right? As we were talking about the whole deal with Brittany Griner getting sentenced to 9 years in the bean. Now we get this, right? Coming from WDRB.com out in Louisville, Kentucky. The DOJ has charged 4 former and current Louisville police officers with federal crimes in connection with the fatal raid on Breonna Taylor apartment in 2020. Ex-detectives Joshua Hayes, Brett Hankerson, and current officers Kyle Meany and Kelly Goodlett face charges that include civil rights offenses, unlawful conspiracies, unconstitutional use of force and obstruction, Attorney General Merrick Garland said. Hankerson was previously the only officer charged in the raid. A Jefferson County grand jury found him not guilty of wanton endangerment charges earlier this year. Yeah, no thanks to Daniel Cameron trying to finagle the whole grand jury process. And then when the jurors wanted to come out and speak about it, he tried to muzzle them. So if there's other players in this political chess game that need to be brought up on charges, I think they need to go after Daniel Cameron because he handled this thing extremely poor. And then when people were protesting outside of his house, then he wanted to have them arrested. Daniel Cameron is unfit to be an attorney general out in Kentucky. That whole thing exposed him for the con artist he is. He is unfit to be an attorney general. And I think that Daniel Cameron needs to be removed as attorney general. He's not going to go quietly. He has to be removed. Period. Now let's continue on with this article. Appreciate y'all for hitting the for coming up in here. Hit the like button, right? Support the channel. Speaking in Washington, Justice Department officials said that a false warrant for Taylor Springfield Drive apartment set in motion the events that led to her death. Now let's take a trip down memory lane because I talked about that false warrant on a multitude of occasions, right? That false warrant had to do with weed being found at they suspected drugs was at this post office, right? Now, for those of you that may not be aware, the post office is a federal building. You're not going to get no warrant for no drugs being found at a federal building. Okay, matter of fact, the local police don't even have no jurisdiction of the post office or whatever. That is a federal building. So you had a false warrant that set up to this, that set the motions in place for this botch raid to go down. And then You need to go after the judge that signed that false warrant too. It shouldn't just stop at those 4 police officers because there was a clear case of misconduct here, right? You need to go after that judge that signed that damn warrant. It should not just stop with those 4 police officers that executed the warrant. Obviously, they perjured themselves when they wrote the warrant, but you need to go after that judge that signed that warrant. Because that judge should have known better before he or she signed that warrant. I believe that judge was a female. It was a female white judge that signed that that warrant. Right? I'm gonna go back to 2 years ago. I'm gonna go back to October 7th, 2020, right? If you go back 2 years ago when they talked about that false warrant, they say the warrant was misleading. This is what they said. A Louisville police detective accused of providing false information to get a search warrant for Breonna Taylor's home told investigators he didn't intentionally mislead the judge, but acknowledged he could have worded the affidavit differently. Okay, whatever. But an investigator within the police department's public integrity unit drew a different conclusion after interviewing the officer who applied for the search warrant, Detective Joshua James. Investigators believe the wording on the affidavit is misleading. Sergeant Jason Vance wrote on the summary of the investigation released a couple years ago. Vance concluded that giving James a statement related to the information should be reviewed for criminal actions. So Detective Joshua James was the guy that wrote that false warrant. That man right there should be the one that's most responsible. Because had he not, what's up, Gigi Chillin? Salute to you, my sister. Had he not put that false warrant out there, we wouldn't have Breonna Taylor being laid up in the morgue right now, or laying in the casket right now. Okay, the affidavit falsely claimed that officers had verified the target of the alleged drug trafficking operation that had received packages at Ms. Taylor's address. Hold on, I take that back. That's not what I wanted to read. James acknowledged that he did not personally obtain information from a U.S. postal inspector as he indicated in the search warrant. Louisville police were repeatedly told there were no packages, suspicious or otherwise, delivered to Taylor's home in connection to a drug investigation centered around Jamarcus Glover. Now, Jamarcus Glover was the ex-boyfriend of Breonna Taylor, okay? Now, Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend was up in the beam. He was already doing time, right? So whatever phone conversation that Jamarcus Glover had with Breonna Taylor, they could have easily gotten that, right? There's so many levels of misconduct that went on in this particular case, and the fact that Daniel Cameron let these guys go is beyond reprehensible on his part, right? And I'm gonna show y'all the affidavit. I'm gonna show y'all this in a second. The warrant claim one of several James. The claim was one of several James presented to Jefferson County Circuit Judge Mary Shaw, who approved the warrant. Okay? I'm gonna repeat that again. That claim was one of several James presented to Jefferson Circuit Judge Mary Shaw, who signed the warrant. James wrote in the affidavit that is not uncommon for drug traffickers to receive mail packages at different locations to avoid detection from law enforcement. In the May 19th interview with the department's public integrity unit and released to the public as part of the entire investigation into Breonna Taylor's shooting, James said that he did not contact the postal inspector, but instead asked Sergeant John Mattingly to check whether Glover was receiving mail at Taylor's home. James told investigators he observed Glover's leave the apartment on January 16th with a suspected USPS package in his right hand. He said several photos were taken for documentation. Mattingly told him back in February that Glover was receiving Amazon or mail packages at Taylor's home, but nothing has been designated as suspicious by the postal inspector. Now, James's interview showed that Mattingly never contacted the postal inspector directly. Instead, he submitted the request through the Shively Police Department, which serves as the liaison between the Louisville Metro Police Department and the postal inspector because of bad blood between the two agencies. So remember, they tried to lump another police department into this. They really tried to lump another police department into this botched situation. Now, going back to the day, he said James and Goodlett conspired to knowingly falsify an investigative document after the shooting, right? Because remember, after the shooting, that autopsy report came back as no injuries, right? Which was weird. This woman had a chock full of bullet holes in her body, but the autopsy report comes back with no injuries. James's indictment says that he and Goodlett met on May 17, 2020 in James's garage, where James allegedly told Goodlett that they needed to get on the same page because they could both go down for putting false information in the Springfield Drive warrant affidavit. The affidavit claimed that James had verified through a U.S. inspector that Glover had been receiving packages at Taylor's apartment. Now, I just told y'all that he did not. I told y'all, I read another piece where he said that he did not verify that, right? Adding that it's not uncommon for drug traffickers to receive items at a different location. So basically, these two cops right here lying to get their story straight, right? Lying through their damn teeth, perjuring themselves to get their story straight. What's up, Lakers fan 87? Yeah, I talked about that already. Yeah, I definitely feel that Daniel Cameron should go down too. It should be more than those 4 police officers. It should be the judge that signed that warrant. It should be Daniel Cameron for putting on that kangaroo court and the special grand jury proceedings, right? There's a whole lot of misconduct going on between the judge that signed the warrant, the police officers that put out that false affidavit, and then you had Daniel Cameron, who pretty much tried to finagle the system to get them off. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, right? Tony Gooden, a U.S. postal inspector in Louisville, told WDRB News in May 2020 that Louisville police did not confer with his office. He said a different law enforcement agency asked his office in January 2020 to investigate whether any potentially suspicious package was going through the unit. The local office concluded that it wasn't. There was no packages or interest going there, Gooden said. Assistant U.S. Attorney Kristen Clark said that falsified warrants create unnecessary hazards for the public and for the police who rely on facts that fellow officers report on carrying out their public duties. So I'm going to give you a golf clap, Kristen Clark, but just know I'm not a fan of you. I am not a fan of Kristen Clark. Now, Louisville, so I'm going to give you an oatmeal raisin cookie, but just know, Kristen Clark, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Now, Louisville Metro Police Department's internal investigation found that Louisville officers that asked 2 members of the Shively Police Department to check with the postal inspector. They were told that there were no packages being sent to Taylor's home. On May 18, 2020, interview with the Public Integrity Unit, Shively Police Sergeant Timothy Sawyer, said he asked Sergeant Manley about the search warrant affidavit after reading it following the shooting. He told Sergeant Manley, said he told Detective James that there was no package history at that address. That summary said that Manley initially reached out to Sawyer and Detective Mike Kuzma of the Chevrolet Police Department at mid-January 2020 at James' request to find out about packaging going to Taylor's apartment. Sawyer said he was asked because he had a good relationship with the postal inspector. In the interview, Sawyer told Louisville Metro Police investigators that he notified Manley that no packages had been received at the address and that the post office did not receive any packages either. Sawyer said he later was contacted by two other LMPD officers, Detective Mike Noblas and Kelly Hanna, about any packages going to Taylor's home and that he told them the same information according to the summary. My question is, why are different people going to the same man, asking them the same question? Where they go, what were they trying to do? They were trying to catch the man up in a lie? You see the level of misconduct that's going on here? Why are different people going to the same man, asking the same questions about this apartment and about these so-called suspicious packages when they've been told over and over and over and over and over again that there were no suspicious packages going to the house? Ain't this badgering? Ain't this harassment right here? It seems like the police officers right here is trying to escalate the situation. It should have been a done deal. Once they learned that no packages of any suspicious kind were going to the house, that should have been a done deal. People should have went about their merry way. Should have had a nice little company gathering at Dunkin' Donuts. And I'm going to stand on what I said before. The Postal Service is a federal building. They have no jurisdiction in no federal building. That's why they were asking to search the house. That's why they put up the thing to search the house. But still, if the postal inspector told y'all that there was no suspicious packages, what the hell were you guys doing at the house? Why was there even a warrant to begin with? And that's why all those police officers are going to burn, because had that warrant not got served, right? And that judge need to go down for that too, because that's judicial misconduct on her part. If you're a judge, you ought to know as a judge, because I'm pretty sure that judge that signed that warrant, this ain't her first dance around the barn. I'm pretty sure she's been a judge for decades, right? You need to gather all the information. You need to gather all the facts, right? Before you sign that warrant. Because if anything go wrong in that warrant and your name's attached to that warrant, you could go down too. This is harassment on the police officer's part. When asked if she was going to, when asked if she was going to show a show cause order as to why Jane shouldn't be held in contempt for providing false information in the affidavit, Judge Mary Shaw, who approved the search warrant, said she was concerned but deferring to the FBI investigation. You were concerned, but you deferring to the FBI? Woman. See, and I hate when they sit up here and try to use weasel words like this. No, Mary Shaw, your butt's in the crack too. You signed that warrant. If you had any idea that this warrant was going to be some BS, one, you shouldn't have signed the warrant. Two, you should have held those police officers in contempt. But you failed to do that. You can't just sit up here and, well, I'm just going to defer to the FBI. What? You trying to weasel your way out of this thing? They need to recall Mary Shaw, right? If those residents out there in Kentucky, specifically Louisville, wants to make a statement, they need to recall her ass. The same way that that judge who handled the Brock Turner case got recalled and got kicked off the bench, right? The same way that that judge and that Brock Turner case got recalled and got revoked, got his thing revoked, they need to do that same thing to Mary Shaw. She's concerned, but she's deferring to the FBI for investigation. What? Are you crazy? She needs to be recalled and stripped of her judicial powers. Now, James was fired from the Metro Police Department in January for being untruthful, but that shouldn't have been the only thing. That he should have been locked up a long time ago. No thanks to Daniel Cameron. Now, he appealed to the Police Merit Board, which upheld the termination in 2021, and then to Jefferson Circuit Court. Judge also upheld the firing, ruling this June that the cause of this case is the truthfulness of Mr. James' statement and the search warrant affidavit. Meany is accused of lying to the FBI. Hankerson was indicted on 2 counts of deprivation of rights for firing to a bedroom window in Taylor's apartment that was covered with blinds and a black curtain after there was no longer a lawful objective justifying the use of deadly force. He also faces charges of shooting through a wall of Taylor's apartment into a neighboring unit, endangering 3 people, including a 3-year-old boy. So the neighbor, Daniel Cameron, right? Because this was ironic from that, right? So when he got hit up for wanton endangerment, right? Breonna Taylor's neighbor was a white woman who had kids, and she was pregnant with another one, right? So Brent Hankerson got the wanton endangerment charge for the white girl when Brent Hankerson fired that shot into her apartment, but not for Breonna Taylor and killing her. Now, help me make that make sense, right? Right? Help me make that make sense. Now, I got the link in the chat room if anybody wants to come in and chop it up about this particular case. Now, like I said before, those cops should not be the only people charged in that particular case. You got the judge who signed the warrant, and Mary Shaw, she needs to be charged, right? You got Daniel Cameron, the Attorney General, who held the the secret cases that the prosecutors try to throw cases at. What's that term called? Oh yeah, with the grand jury, right? So he held a case. He held a thing with the grand jury. Tried to throw this case, right, in which he was successful in that, given the way he finagled those jurors. And then when the jurors wanted to come out and speak about it, he tried to muzzle the jury, talking this nonsense about, this is, the sworn to secrecy. Why? Should be no sworn to secrecy. That clown Daniel Cameron tried to use weasel words like sworn to secrecy and the integrity of the court and all this other BS, just so he can finagle his way out of this thing. And then, so where's the judge that presided over the grand jury proceedings? And then Daniel Cameron had a nerve to go on a press conference and try to throw those jurors under the bus. The same jurors he was finagling to get the result he wanted, he turns around, goes on a press conference and tried to throw those jurors under the bus. And that's why those jurors came out and spoke out against him. Oh yeah, I talked about that Kentucky Fried Coon made from 11 herbs and spices at great length on this channel. Then Daniel came out and admit that he never worked a criminal case. He was a paper pusher. All those times when he was an intern and all that, and all those times when he was, around the legal system, he did not handle a criminal case. The Breonna Taylor case was the first criminal case that Daniel Cameron had held in any capacity. So yeah, he need to be recalled, disbarred too. He need to be recalled and disbarred too, and he need to have charges brought up on him. Lying to the FBI, right? Now I'm really interested in seeing how this process plays out. I am really interested in seeing how this process play out. Because if you ask me, I don't trust Kristen Clark. I don't trust her as far as I could throw her. Okay. Now you might be asking yourself, LB, why won't you trust Kristen Clark? I mean, she's the head of the DOJ Civil Rights Division. I'll tell you why. Back in the Ahmaud Arbery case, she did a backdoor deal in the oil field in the middle of the night while people were sleeping to try to get the McMichaels time in the federal pen and not the state pen. When the family found out about that and they tried to convince the judge to not accept that ruling, Kristen Clark, along with her little confidant, tried to tell them, "Oh well, don't listen to the family. We need to get this process going so it can bring a moment of healing." Boy, when she said that, that thing really set me on fire. What's up, Santee? Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, cook. And go
What's happening now?
King
I haven't seen the incident in itself yet, as far as with Brittany Griner. Now I know from the stuff that you put up, you said she got 9 years, right?
Yeah.
All right, I got this from CNN. Let me see if I can post it at all. Can you see this?
Yeah, let me remove this. Let me remove this. All right, go ahead.
All right, let me mute myself.
The moment when the judge actually read the sentence, the maximum sentence, the one the prosecutors asked for, 9 years in a penal colony.
Final verdict is 9 years of imprisonment of the 9 million rubles penalty in the penal colony. And she will serve her term from the day of the announcement of this verdict.
Man, she ain't getting no down payment. If this is leniency upon pleading guilty, yeah, tough turkey.
Yeah,
That's
she
a
ain't.
tough deal. That's hard to swallow there. I mean, you sat up there and I pretty much stripped down and said, I did it, this, that, and the third. You ain't make a spectacle out of it. What they could have stretched out, it wouldn't have mattered. But leniency is 9 years to the gut. That's a hard gut punch to swallow, man.
Hey, I ain't about to lose sleep over it though, bro.
Yeah, right. That's a hard one. That's some of that half Nelson lifting your arms up. All right, like taking a deep breath shot to the stomach. It truly is.
Yeah.
Because when you done peeled all the way down and you done, I'm going to do what I'm going to do for the best interest of making sure that, this punishment is as harmless and painless as possible. All right. She got hit in the head with Vladimir Putin's law. I believe you said it was like 90 something percent of the individuals there that get convicted are convicted. All right. 90 something percent, 92 or 93%, whatever the percentage is, it pointed to her not being able to slither out of this situation. So, as we said, the pleading was to say, all right, look, hey, mercy, all right, don't chop my head off. So we ain't going to give you 10, we're going to give you 9 years. And the sad part that I'm listening to as I went in there and to play this real quick is the circumstances that she don't even get any coins for time served. Do you understand that?
Nope.
She gets no coins for time served. So all this time that she has sat down here, she is not rewarded upon that. And usually, I mean, that's the circumstances in America, but hey, you're not in America.
Yep,
Right.
the law is totally different over there.
Right. I mean, that just happened to not be in America, you know. Good God. Now, you can hear the lady said the sentence will start from this day. Yeah, that's what the lady said. It's gonna start from like, all right, from today. All right, so get ready to bed. All right, and he ain't getting this wholesale. We don't do day for day. You ain't getting day for day. All right, you about to do time. You about to do a hard time. All right.
Right? I know, right?
Yep, get in there and stand up straight. You about to do this time. He said
And
no
you're gonna
day
do
for
this
day.
time.
No day for day, and you will not be credited any days that you was jammed in a cage and we had you in a hole somewhere. Mm, 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 mm.
We get no time served, bro. Oh, ooh,
Yeah, for every moment you were in the shadows now, all right, we ain't got nothing to do with that. All right. We
that's
only
crazy.
we only hitting you in the head for the judgment now. All right, so as far as you getting snatched up, that's your business. Cause I'm pretty sure she ain't had no bail. She had no bail, right?
No, she been there since they busted her in February.
Yeah, so they've been busting upside their head with wood since February, huh?
Yeah,
That's very unfortunate. How many months is that? February, March, April, May, June, July, and we had August. Damn.
yeah.
You
She
can
been
at
there that
least
whole
get,
time.
yeah. If she would have been doing maybe about 8.5. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, because it would have took about like 5 or 6 months off or whatever. Look, she would have probably been doing 8.5, but she was going to do that straight to the door.
Right.
All right, they ain't talking about no possibility of parole in 4 or possibility of up for parole in 3 years. Or, no, you getting straight 9.
No
Mm.
chasing.
No chase at all. Stop looking over there. He ain't gonna hand you the bottle. He ain't get none. He's looking for mercy. He's standing over there like, come on, man. But is it anybody that can look out? Nah.
She's gonna do that
You
goddamn
see,
time.
since you heard from Biden, has any has anybody heard from Biden? Mm, mm, mm.
Shit, by
Yeah,
the time she get out, Biden might be dead. While you bullshitting, you know what I'm saying?
right. Yeah, man. She can't even get out and properly curse him out in his face. He
Nope.
already gonna be in a box somewhere.
Yep.
He already gonna be in a hole. It ain't like she can get out, and you know. But I thought they said it was gonna trade 2 cats, 2 individuals for her return. Didn't they have a deal on the table?
So unless the United States agree to that, Russia said no. we not
Oh man,
we not giving her up.
yeah, and she just got 9 years. No, right today, like right now, not
Yeah.
not yesterday. She started. She got it one day in yesterday. Right now, you got to stand up straight and start doing this time. Mm,
Yep.
mm, mm, mm. Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
this is your new home. They're gonna keep her safe, of course. They got to do that.
Right.
You can't just have her around the hardened criminals. But who knows, man? All right, who knows? I put it to you like this: it's a bad look every day that she's over there for these other groups that have been doing their meddling for so long. It's a bad look. I often say, without black support, it's hard to get anything off the ground. That's why you see people trying to play both sides with us all the time. At one minute they want to practice white supremacy towards you, and then in the next minute they want to claim that we're one big melting pot when it's an advantage for them. All right. This is why you've seen a lot of black folks that rather distance themselves from all of the extra garbage so our shoulders aren't so heavy on the BS and we can get things fixated on one solid agenda, which is to get reparations, to do things one line at a time. You know, one line at a time.
Right.
You got these extra groups out here. They have to go ahead and fend for themselves. That's what it is. You're rocking their flag and their banter, and your group better go over there and get to work. Black folks are not the extra cake to put on when inconvenience has tapped on your door. We're not. We've been used for like the dirty dish rag for years, for so long. And when you tell folks that we ain't coming out there and we ain't supporting them, they feel like they can get an attitude and throw a tantrum at you.
Right. Like we,
Right.
yeah.
Any other time somebody say no, it's like, oh, okay, all right, thank you for your help, appreciate you. But when we say no, folks is going all out and spending billions and millions of dollars and gonna go get Sambos and doing all types of weird stuff. Black folks get killed. You see somebody strange in a crowd you never seen making a whole bunch of noise, and yeah, black folks is getting killed. But also the trans community, LGBT, it's like, whoa. Homie, take your problems up here, Halls, that down that block right there and do that. All right? We're talking about punishing race soldiers right now and holding white supremacy accountable. So when you hear my objections as I speak upon this on the lanes of the double standards and lanes for support, because without black support, you're screwed. She just got 9, Hall. They gave her 9.
They give her nine. They give her 9 pieces of chicken.
They gave her he gave her 9
They
wings.
gave her that Popeyes 9-piece special, extra spicy on.
They definitely gave her the 9-piece. She was served the 9-piece. All right, now I only ordered 4 wings. No, you get 9. All right, come on over here. Come in.
You get them dry ass biscuits too. You gotta give her those too.
He said, "Man, I only ordered 4 wings, ma'am." No, you get 9. You come on 9. Over here, and then you get 9. Put that bib on.
Yeah, you take this extra 5, nigga, and you run with it.
Put that bib up, and put that bib on, and slide up to this table right here, all. You get 9.
Hey, so going off of what you just said, we talked about this whole Breonna Taylor thing, right? So I don't know if you heard, 4 of the police officers that were responsible for her death, well, they got charged of her murder. So what's your thoughts about that? The DOJ finally did their damn job.
Did that just happen?
Yeah, that just happened.
All right. Let me get my hands on this. All right, okay. You said Breonna Taylor?
Yeah, the 4 officers that were implicated in that murder of her. Yeah, the DOJ they hit them with federal charges just now.
They should, because this has been sitting over here for years. Oh, here's the family right here. This is just an hour ago. Okay, all right. I'm seeing these details here. So I could punch you in on your side or whatever the case is. But this is Breonna Taylor update. Officers arrested for lying and search warrant that led to her death. Now, you see this white man is out here taking a whole bunch of credit. They got him marched out here in the front to be able to give all these speeches, because that's what I'm seeing on each network. And the FBI arrest from what was this, LMPD officers in connection to Breonna Taylor. Let me play one of these at least. I'm gonna go ahead and connect it to you. I was about to do my own live stream, brother, but when I looked back and I seen you working, I was like, he's still on. Let me see if I can go ahead and jump in the mix.
Yeah, because see, I didn't get your take on the whole Brittany Griner thing. That's why I let you go ahead and get your thing off.
Right.
Yeah, I was reading that out because normally when I give a report, I go to the local news because they give more details than the national news or whatever like that. But go ahead, play the clip.
Okay, let me go ahead and move this back here. I gotta mute myself.
All right, go ahead.
Investigation into whether the Louisville Metro Police Department is engaging in a pattern or practice of law enforcement misconduct. We're looking at whether the LMPD uses excessive force, improper searches, or racially discriminatory policing. That ongoing investigation is separate from today's charges. In closing, I extend condolences to Breonna Taylor's family and loved ones. Today, we acknowledge the loss of her life.
I was wondering if you could just elaborate a little bit on sort of the top line things that you're finding in the pattern or practice investigation so far. And secondly, this question's for the AG. With Brittany Griner's trial likely wrapping up shortly in Russia, do you expect Ms. Griner and Trevor Reed to be traded for Victor Bout? And do you support such an exchange? Do you expect other prisoner swaps? Three questions.
You know, I was counting. Yeah, I'll take the second question. Like, all I can say is, as the Secretary of State has said, that Ms. Griner was unlawfully detained. And beyond that, I really can't comment. I'm going to let Assistant Attorney General Clark answer the question about the pattern or practice investigation.
Our investigation in our pattern or practice investigation into the police.
Hold on, let's go back here. That's the
we gotta go
investigation
back
as a
because
whole, right? That's the joint as a whole. Everything they have together, but that's not separate for what the officers actually got charged for, and that's what we're trying to sit here and
the
look at.
Justice Department hitting 4 current and former Louisville Metro Police officers with federal charges connected to Breonna Taylor's death. Attorney General Merrick Garland detailed these charges earlier. Take a listen.
The federal charges announced today allege that members of the Place-Based Investigations Unit falsified the affidavit used to obtain the search warrant of Ms. Taylor's home, that this act violated federal civil rights laws, and that those violations resulted in Ms. Taylor's death.
Well, here to break it down.
now I broke that down before you came on, Santee. I broke that down of how that was, right? Remember the false warrant, right?
Right.
They were talking about all these drugs coming from going from the post office to Breonna Taylor's apartment, and then you had the person who led that person who's the head of the post office kept telling them that no, there's no drugs coming here, there's nothing suspicious coming here, and yet they kept on persisting and harassing this dude, right? To where they had the false warrant that was signed by that judge, because I think they need to go after that judge too for signing that false police that search warrant. What you think about that? Go ahead, bro.
Those measures, as far as with that, speaking to the terms of the false warrant and timeline, and just the fact that he tried to take the boyfriend and get him to say that Breonna Taylor was holding drugs and it had something to do with him. Just the slimy stuff that took place. The fact that Mr. Walker was charged. Was it Kenneth Walker?
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker. He was charged with this murder here after they came in through the door like Nash, and he only allegedly fired 1 round here. All right, just 1 round that led to you shooting the spot up and illegally walking into a crime scene here with a whole bunch of bullets and shell casings everywhere here, cleaning up some of their mess. As they said, they found 40 something shell casings. I believe it was a whole lot more than that, Halls. All right. And luckily, the young man was able to get out of there. But if it wasn't for the judge there in place, all right, he could be sitting in a cage. Yeah, he could have been sitting in a cage right now for this because they was trying to pass the buck. But as far as that post office stuff that you're talking about, the post office don't even rock with the police officers like that no more. All right. But this was before that incident because they had another problem with that police department putting out false paperwork and having individuals come back to them in the process of the investigation. So that was immediately debunked by, by the post office. And at that time, this information was public, and Daniel Cameron was sitting around here doing absolutely nothing. And this is why it had to be picked up federally. Because if it was left in his hands, he'd still be sitting around here doing absolutely nothing, Halls.
Exactly, bro.
Even if what you've seen at the context of the grand jury, which had came forth, in the terms of these indictments, these secret indictments, which you're not even supposed to be speaking about. You had one of them come forth like, look, they didn't even offer us an option to indict the police. Those were none of the options on board.
Now, mind you, Santee, remember that because when after the whole thing when he finagling, he got his desired result, he went on a press conference and threw them under the bus saying that, oh, well, the grand jury has spoken and there'll be no charges, right? That's what prompted them to come out and say that he tried to muzzle them.
Absolutely. And a lot of this was hushing and trying to keep people quiet and dirty attorneys that you know for having slimy backgrounds. Tom Wine is the individual who pushed the button on Judge Luol Stevenson, okay, as far as in terms of getting him suspended because he didn't want a black teenager to have an all white jury in here. He was against it. All right, you're supposed to have a jury of your peers. All right, and because he said something to Tom Wine about that, Tom Wine put into a complaint and had this man suspended here. All right, a black judge. You can only pull certain things in place that they tell you that they cannot do when it is a black person holding power. Then all these extra things that usually can't get connected night and day here are put into place here in order to show you white supremacist power. All right, because I understand a lot of things got to come into place in order for you to punish a judge, and they were able to do that. And Tom Wine, his dirty hands, the same person that had the hands on this Breonna Taylor case, was a part of that. So you smelt the filth from a mile away. Is he going to be charged? Is anybody, as far as the DA, going to get charged?
That's what as of right now, I haven't heard anything about him getting charged. But I think it should not just be limited to those police officers. I think it should be they should go after the judge for signing that warrant. Should go after Daniel Cameron. Should go after Tom Wine. It should be a whole strip down, tear down of a whole bunch of players that's involved in this con game that resulted in Breonna Taylor being killed and all that, and Kenneth Walker being unfairly treated.
Right.
I just want to say that all these motherfuckers need to be rounded up like Bloods and Crips off the Colors movie. Because if you had the withal and the intelligence to actually do your job right, none of this shit would even be happening. Breonna Taylor would have still been alive with Kenneth Walker, you know. And I wanted to say something earlier about the shell casings. It was definitely over more than 40 bullets. Because if you shooting like that in a building, like in a room like that, with all those cops out there, just be killing people unjustly. It's gonna be more than over 40 bullets. They just killed this dude and shot him over 60 times. So it doesn't surprise me that they'll try to, get those shell casings up and stuff.
Yeah, which you're not supposed to.
And what was that cop's charge? What was the one measly charge he got hit with that they let him off?
Endangerment.
Wanton endangerment?
Yeah.
Good God Almighty! Because
Hey,
of
can y'all hear me?
inside a white person's home. Because that's
right.
Right.
Yeah, the neighbor, the next door neighbor was white.
But there was a black neighbor that a bullet went through her home as well, and there were no charges filed for that.
Nope.
Hey, can y'all hear me on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is really what I wanted to speak on today, the whole Breonna Taylor situation. And you're right. The everything needs to be handed to everybody from the top down. Like, this is a situation where it's way more than the cops, the 4 officers that need to be held liable for this, because this is a situation where the top down is guilty of misusing justice, because the entire situation, the warrant was obtained about a post office matter. The state doesn't deal with that. So they're breaking criminal procedure to begin with. So anything that was written from anybody, not only the people who carried out that warrant need to be held liable for that, but everybody who gave out that order is guilty of committing really unconstitutional acts, because that's breaking a constitutional right of searches and seizures because it was obtained illegally. So top down, everybody needs to get hit.
Look, Santee and K. Emmanuel and Eric. Look, the DOJ got a slam dunk case if there ever was one. This is a slam dunk case. Look, I don't got no kind of bar experience and no law degree or nothing like that. And even I know these dudes is guilty as hell. This is a slam dunk case that ever was one. You know, Kristen Clark talking this thing about, well, we got to see if there was excessive force. Obviously, we got a dead woman. We got a dead black woman. Of course, there was.
Well, it's excessive force if it was passed. She posed no deadly threat herself, obviously. So there was no use for deadly force on their part at all. That's what's excessive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
If there was video of her shooting at them, if there was she was yelling that she was holding somebody hostage, then
no. See, all that stuff right there. She was laying in her bed with her boyfriend watching a movie when they burst in guns blazing like that.
Yes, exactly. I'm agreeing with you. It was excessive to the point of they used deadly force when there was absolutely no need to. Because the cops can use deadly force but only if they feel like they are met within a situation where they have to use that deadly force to protect them or others. There was no reason to even pull the guns out. Like, even that, and just on everything, is just built on a foundation of a faulty warrant. It needs to be in everybody from the top down needs to get hit with something. That dude Daniel Cameron, was he the DA, right? Daniel
The Attorney
Cameron.
General. He's
Yeah,
the
the Attorney General. Yeah, the Attorney General. He needs to get hit with because he misused justice on all fronts. Everybody, like, it's just a laundry list. Every single person, and where it's not just these cops. You can hit every single person in the whole chain with a
And
laundry list of charges.
the DA as well, Tom Wine, needs to be snatched up because he intentionally muddied up the waters and did a whole bunch of dirty stuff. And as I was sitting here, I had put something up for a second, just the front of the article, and it's like, from all the work that we put in, I watch my brothers and sisters every single day putting videos up and putting work in. All right, and they break down the doors here within the last hour to give favor to some civil rights Negroes. They didn't get it popping out here. They can't get things moving for themselves. You can't even get black folks to the poll to vote. All right, we have been the ones over the years beating the drum and getting all the information out here and going through long tapes and videos and stuff like this, Hoss, in order to make sure everybody's been informed. Not these old dried up Sambos. All right, and he's sitting here, he's putting it underneath of the circumstances of the power of the civil rights movement. New black media, every last one of us have been able to get the message out here. The streets, the actual grassroots. All right, that's why even when you speak to the context of saying the civil rights movement, it does not ring the same way it did 20 years ago. It does not spark the same way because certain individuals know that the dominant society, anytime that there's a victory for black folks, they got to go ahead and disguise this underneath of something that they're comfortable with. Right. I just wanted to point that out real quick, if you guys can see this in this article, and I'll zoom in real quick on what I'm talking about here.
Yep.
It's like, dude, like, sit these old dinosaurs down somewhere here, Hoss. They're not running anything. We hear them complaining every day about how young black folks don't want to hear it and they're not interested, and how all this crime is going on. All right, with their socks pulled all the way up to their brain. Okay, this ain't the time here, and really, it lets you know how desperate the dominant society is for a win right now, because this will be something that the Democratic politicians try to cling to as they try to persuade black voters to go out here for the midterms.
You know what, Santee? I'm glad you mentioned that, man, because that brought up an interesting point. Why now? The timing of it. No,
because they know that they have to throw black folks a bone. They have been screwing us over 7 ways to Sunday. Every week you're seeing some black person get violated or murdered, all right, by race soldiers out here. Shout out to Nelly Fuller. All right? No, every week you're seeing some heinous crime. If a black person is not getting murdered in their car, then they're getting shot on a sofa somewhere in their house or over a friend's house. All right, they recognizing that process of doing that, and you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You're taking all this money here and pouring it into everything that has nothing to do with this country as you raise the rates up everywhere you sneeze. All right, I don't have to stay at a gas pump. You can point to the groceries. You can point to rent. You can point to living as a whole. All right, you got certain people right now that are being gentrified out of their community. All right, well, raise it so high around here, you can't afford to live here. All right, that's what you have going on underneath of these circumstances. And they hear black folks beating the drum, talking reparations, and we ain't speaking anything else. All right, we're talking about taking away qualified immunity. We're speaking about punishing race soldiers and changing the system of white supremacy and putting it to a system of justice. That's what we're speaking upon repeatedly, and we're not switching our tune. And every funny looking politician that you see here, the first thing that you hear coming out of a black person's mouth is, what do you plan on doing for black folks? All right. What's the deal with reparations? And that scares these Democrats, and it scared them into a hole to try to triple down. And at the last little stretch, November's right here. All right, let me try to throw these Negroes a bone here real quick. In circumstances where these race soldiers, there's enough evidence for them to be punished, but sparks of Cal Rittenhouse comes to mind. Rodney King's situation comes to mind. All right. And so many other situations comes to mind where you've watched race soldiers and a bunch of evidence be stacked on them dead to rights, and they're still able to leave out these courtrooms. It is always a toss-up, Hoss. It always is, no matter who they're charging. All right? Because we've seen too many. You've seen all the footage you watched, and these race soldiers still were able to walk. Absolutely. So even as we're looking at it, it's not a bona fide reward until these individuals are convicted. And even then, you have to look at the lane from the white supremacist shadow government, because Kim Potter was convicted. She was convicted, but that judge made sure that she had a soft sentence that she handed down 2 years here for murder.
Yep.
For murder, a convicted murderer. Here's 2 years. All right. No, since the jury couldn't do it here, and they seen her when she was crying. All right. One of the people in the jury said, we felt like she was full of you know what when she was crying. They didn't buy it. All right. Here comes the white supremacist shadow government with we'll take care of it. And speaking more about the concerns and feelings of Miss Potter than the actual individual, Dante Wright, who was murdered. All right. So we see how it goes down with these court systems. It is always a toss up. Cal Rittenhouse case was a circus. I don't even need to get started there. A circus from start to finish. And you got to see that live on television here. All right. The biggest antics and clown show ever. A big joke. All right. Look, man, I'm not even going to speak upon it, man. Every time I think about it, it pisses me off. But my point is simple here. It ain't finished until it's done here, Hoss. Until you got that look on your face like Derek Chauvin as they give you 22 and a half. All right. Then you step in another spot and then they smack you with some years. You doing time. You standing in cells doing time forever. It ain't over until it's like that. All right. Until you don't remember when you supposed to stop doing time. All right. They say he about to do 38 years altogether, something like that, 37 years.
Yep. I'm right there with you, bro. I did a story last week before YouTube messed with my stream. I was doing a story about this dude by the name of Vincent Simmons out of Louisiana, 44 years in the bean over a crime he didn't commit. You had two white women who were identical twins lie on this man, talk about how they picked him up at a gas station.
Right.
Held the gun to him, had the man in the trunk. When all that bullshit, when it turns out it was the cousin who had sex with one of the twin sisters, while the other twin sister was in the back of the trunk.
So it was one of their own family members. I didn't find out that those contexts at the end. I seen that grimy part where you had the young ladies go ahead and go to the courts and say that he deserved to be locked up and he did it. This is when he got freed. All right, day they sitting there saying, all right, we're going to release him from prison after being in there. They were in the back of the court still accusing this guy of being a rapist here after they know they done lied on this man. I mean,
get this, Auntie. Hey, the woman wrote a book about it that was published on July 6, 2005. She wrote a book about it.
Well, does good old Vincent get to be compensated from all of that bread that she collected off of that book since she told a bunch of lies? Ain't this defamation?
Yeah.
All right. And even had him underneath the case talking about, even underneath of the context of cruel and unusual punishment, he shouldn't have been sentenced that long. Y'all give black folks unjust sentences every single day here, Hoss. Every day. First time offenders, whatever. Get the book thrown at them. All right, they'll charge one of these black folks here and send the next one in here that's non-black to drug court. All right, just to let you know what this process is hitting for. I was hearing Eric Adams, man, earlier today. I was talking about this Mayor Eric Adams.
You mean Officer Adams?
Yeah, Officer Adams. Yeah, that's what I call him.
There's
Officer
Raccoon Adams right there. I call him Mr. Bojangles.
Right. Yeah. What you call it? Sheriff David Clark's grandson. Okay. But I seen this cornball joker. He's at the podium. He literally had black folks in the streets like, yo, like, stop, dude. We don't need to reinstate cash bond. You know, in New York City, they don't have cash bond there, which it makes it easy. If you get locked up, you're not worried about a bondsman and stuff like that. All right. Everything is just a paperwork process. All right. Unless you're somebody that needs to be held underneath for whatever the case is. But there's not this cash bond that's set there. And Eric Adams keeps going up to Albany to argue with Republicans to put this back in place. Now, as I was saying earlier today, who the hell does this harm, yo? Who does this smash on top of their head off the break? Because you know New York City is already hard to live in already, just from the prices there. New York City, Los Angeles, it's expensive to live out there. So if I gotta deal with a case where I'm getting snatched up by police and they're putting false charges on me, all right, I gotta deal with a public defender or whatever. They had two people sitting up here behind a podium. This is in New York City today. And they were talking about, look, I had to sit down for 3 years for a crime I didn't commit. And when I finally got into the courts to be able to be seen, they just banged the gavel and let me go. This is because she was economically destitute, broke. Average American does not have enough money for a $500 emergency, Hoss. So if something cracks off, you're screwed. All right? You put a person in a position like the way that you see these other black folks here, and it ain't just them. I played a couple of clips repeatedly in my last couple of videos of black folks getting that grade A Bill Cosby-like treatment where they just sitting you down until they just can't go through with the process anymore. Something underneath for the terms of, oh, once you get caught up in the system, you can't never get out. All right? It's underneath for those terms, Hoss. But speaking to the context of Uncle Beans, Beans and Rice Adams. All right? Beefy Beans and Rice Adams. Okay? This guy is a grade A Sambo and a hazard to all young black folks in New York City. He ain't been nothing but a hound dog promoting the overall abuse of black folks and mistreatment, all right, murder and everything else, while he hands the bag out and allocutes money for everybody else. All right. I don't know what swagged out means. All right. I think I changed his name earlier. I don't call him swagged out. His name is Super Sambo now. That's his name, Super Sambo. All right. Because I don't know what all this swagging means. If swag means to call the police on a nigga across the street and, hey, what y'all niggas doing back there? All right. I don't want nothing to do with it. All right. If he's going to go ahead and brand it. Anyhow, go on, brother. I don't want to take over your whole show here.
We knew this nigga.
Absolutely, Santee. No, hey, man, hey, I know what, hey, I want to give you the floor, man, because I know how YouTube trying to put the screws to you, bro. So I want people to get a glimpse of what you present. So
I appreciate that. I really do respect that. I appreciate that, man. I just got suspended again today. The video I did, Bad Blood, which was last night here. I couldn't tell you, my brother. I'm gonna tell you like this. I couldn't tell you. They're trying to say that I put out misdoctor information or something about misinformation as far as medical information. I was never talking about any medical information. All right. And even when I speak about certain things or context, I'm not going to go and dabble into it like that. But I understand that, look, this is my third channel where I done got my second strike, and I done had 2 channels put down. Anytime I put the context of my actual name right there, I am shadow banned, blackballed, and attacked here, Hoss.
No, you ain't the only one that's been attacked, bro. I mean, shit. I mean, they trying to come after me too. They're trying to go after 2 Raw. You know what I'm saying? This is my question. How you putting out misinformation when they're the one when you got these media outlets out here that put it out? Ain't like you just shooting from the hip.
Exactly. You'll come down to my channel. I'll have a video here that ain't even hit. It has not got itself viral. It might have been out for a day or so. I try to keep myself in between 1 or 3 days. Make sure you get my hands on it fresh, but put it right out here. It don't get a whole lot of attention. You'll look 4 days later and it's everywhere. All right? It's everywhere. So underneath of that consistent thing, you can see that when it comes to the internet, and this is facts too, most black folks go to the internet to get their information if they want to be informed. They're not listening to these news channels. In the cases of statistics, the only people that are listening to cable news shows are old people and poor people. That's it. Those are their primary followers. But as far as the audience for news and what have you, majority of the black people come straight to the internet. All right, and that's where we are, Halls. And that's why I say the work we put in is phenomenal every day. I tip my hat because this stuff ain't easy. I mean, you got to deal with the dominant society underneath of the context where you're losing thousands of subscribers at a time, and then hundreds over here. All right, then you got to go back and rebuild these things. You have to be confident in what you're doing, and to make sure that you have an actual goal and purpose here. All right. So when we go ahead and say black first, that means something. When we speak about reparations, you can see the consistency in the different lanes and matters in that. All right. We are always furthering what we're doing here, Halls, by making this a marathon and not a sprint. Indeed, brother.
Absolutely. Eric, you wanted to say something? Or Eric, I don't know what Eric. Oh, Gio.
Oh, my bad. I'm back. All I'm gonna say is that, you know, justice definitely need to be served for Sister Breonna Taylor, and that Bucktooth Beaver, Daniel Cameron definitely need to be under the jail cell dropping the soap every day. So it doesn't surprise me that these motherfuckers finally trying to do something, but really it's too late when you think of it, because all this shit could have really been avoided if these motherfuckers actually did their job right. And with these situations going on with black people around the world, definitely in the States, you just got to keep your head on the swivel and always, stay prepared, because the way these motherfuckers is trying to change laws to put it in their advantage, you always got to stay prepared for the worst. So I'm just tell y'all to keep y'all heads on the swivel and keep doing you, LB.
Hey man, I ain't changing for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely nobody. I'm gonna tell this truth, and ain't nothing you can do but nothing like it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's too many people, too many characters out here that's willing to sell the soap, carry water, and do everything for some milk bone dog biscuits, and I won't have that over here. Real.
Yeah,
Yes,
these niggas
indeed.
would do anything to be on the Uncle Ben's rice box. So it doesn't surprise me that these niggas would be out here, chasing dog whistles and shit.
Yep.
Exactly. And then more than anything else, I'm looking at this proper here, Halls. Anytime it comes to serving out dinners and breakfast, they always got a line up over here. All right. It's no different than the hijacking of the Black Panthers for the breakfast thing here. All right. You've always got to reach your hand over here. Black folks are the ones that consistently hold these subject matters here in place, and hold white supremacy accountable. All right. Holding them accountable here, Hawks. More than marching out shoe leather, it's every time I see you, I'm bringing this up. I'm not going to allow you to sit here and feel comfortable about it. Nah, I ain't forget about it, nigga. No, I'm going to remind you every time I see you, Hawks. I'm going to open up the conversation with that. All right, no, until it becomes a nuisance, and these are things that the dominant society has not. Excuse me. They've usually been able to finesse their way through and pull some type of shiny object tactic where they can confuse or get everybody else's attention somewhere else here, Halls. But the thing is, with these problems, if you want them to be taken care of, then we know we have to keep our foot on the dominant society's neck, man. We have to. All right. And there ain't no moments of rest. I look at every black person which is successful here in America who has been attacked by white supremacy. And one thing that we recognize that you can connect to all of them is white supremacy never lays off of you. They're on you until your body is cold, Halls, and you're lifeless. All right. So why should our projections be anything different when we have folks standing in front of us trying to destroy us? All right. We need to line up. When we're saying being on code, that means being organized. That means having something that is structured there, Halls. That way justice prevails. because we never let this situation go. The same way we haven't let Tamir Rice's situation go. The same way we're still looking for Carolyn Bryant. Yeah, we're still checking for her. To try to put some picture up to show how weak she looked recently. It's just like, all right, okay. Well, you go on and get it in this wheelchair. All right, and take her to the nearest station and put her in this corner to look at the wall for the remainder of Mrs. Bryant's existence here. All right. No, she'll get her medication and all that, but go on and get her. All right. Justice needs to be served here. And that will be the big one for me, also, when they snatch up Carolyn Bryant. Because as the big homie Jason Black says, she is the mother of white supremacy. Okay, that's the big one in which they've got away with, and one of the last pieces to be able to punish for that crime of Emmett Till. Go ahead, brother.
No, keep cooking, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It'd just be one of the last moments to punish anybody from the crimes of Emmett Till. That town itself was a white supremacist town, so they did not matter in which damage that they did to Emmett Till, all right, and how significant the evidence. They still let these individuals go in a courtroom here, Hoss, of a big lane of injustice. We still need to go ahead and get something up off of that, Hoss. We don't care how much time it is there. Understand, you're looking at Cosby's situation. They gave him, at the age of 80, they gave him 10 years. All right, that's pretty much the rest of your life. All right, it's a life sentence. All right, crime you didn't commit. You didn't have no right to go ahead to throw these charges at him, but they gave him 10 years. He had to wait 3 years until he was exonerated. All right, and until somebody thoroughly looked at the paperwork and said, hey, you can't do this. All right, you can't use this to do. You let this man go, let him free immediately. They tried to sneak in his cell before that and get him to sign some paperwork. Oh, we'll release you here if you register as a sex offender. That man held his will enough to say, hell no. I know he wanted to probably get his ass up out of there. All right, but he wasn't prepared to put on paper that, look, I'm this, that, and the third to satisfy white supremacy. He held his will. He knew his day was coming.
And plus, they was going to use this shit against him. But if they can arrest 100-plus-year-old Nazis and shit who was out here killing Jews in World War II, they can arrest this old ass bitch. So I don't see the difference between either of them. I mean, she got to live her life.
Go ahead, cook, brother. Exactly. Now, I feel you. Yeah, if they can go ahead and backtrack and get these old SS officers and what have you and lock them up, all right, and punish them and make them kick out bread and what have you, then you need to get this dried up old lady and get her going. Somebody go grab her hub around or whatever that she is mobile with and get a bus. All right, and get it to the nearest station so we can get these things popping. Somebody is literally hiding this old woman, and this is a damn shame here. All right, no, we ain't forgot. We haven't forgot, Hoss. All right, they open
some that warrant out there. Go get her ass. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what she got going on. I don't care if she had bingo night, if she had watching Lawrence Welk. I don't care if she out there at a family Sunday dinner and go to corral with her great grandkids and all that. I don't give a god dang on what going on. Go get her ass. You got the warrant. Execute the thing.
Right. You understand with white society always trying to show different layers of discretion here, Hoss. Always different layers of discretion. Let me see if I can go ahead and get something here. I want to show you something from earlier if I can get this to pop up here. Because it was a case where one of these teachers had touched the student and they said the punishment was unfair. I'm just going to explain it to you. I don't got time to go ahead and look this up. But said the punishment was unfair underneath for the context that she only is going to be sentenced to like 6 weeks in prison. It's a white woman, of course.
6 weeks?
6 weeks in prison here. That was the
fuck out of here, bro.
6 weeks. And the sweet part of that story is that at the end of the report, the news reporter was reporting. She said, yeah, and she'll serve her time a year from now because she has children. Huh?
What?
Nah, I ain't BSing you, Hoss.
Wow, that's white privilege to the extreme.
This was today. I'm not talking about this was today. I was just sitting up looking at some stories. All right, this was today.
It don't surprise me.
Yeah, the woman had like all different types of counts, messing with this 13-year-old and getting it popping in her car and in the classroom and all these different spots. It was a stack of evidence on her. All right, she was
Imagine that would
convicted.
have been a man. That would have been way different. Motherfucker would have had 55 years. But it'd be different when it's women most of the time when it comes to them messing with kids and shit. Cause I don't know what it is about them doing that shit though. They ain't getting no grown dick in their life. But why you want to be out here messing with kids and stuff? Only 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
She got six.
Damn.
She got 6 weeks. That was the sentence, and she
That's
don't got to do it until next year because she got kids.
She
She shouldn't even be around kids. All
I
right.
think I think only thing I think that she got out of this sentence, she had to get on her knees on some Kamala Harris type of shit. She had to do some strange things for a little piece of change to get a lighter sentence and stuff. Cause you'll see all these heinous crimes that be done on people, especially from like crazy, cracked out meth headed white bitches and stuff. Then you'll see them just get these lighter ass sentences. Then you'll just wonder like what they had to do to get these sentences and stuff. Cause the lawyer couldn't have been that good. I don't know what they was doing to like the judge or something. I don't know.
and that white privilege, man. That white privilege is a thing, bro.
Man, it lines down to the beautiful white privilege. They're not going to punish no white woman like that. All right, they don't give a damn about a black woman or her kids. All right, they got social services right there. All right, right lined up before you can even get your paper, before you can get your peoples on the phone. All right, they already got a van there for your kids. They're telling you got to be sympathetic and the justice and which she's supposed to be serving out here. All right, justice is supposed you got to wait a year for that because she got kids.
Man, fuck them kids and fuck her too.
Right, because she got children. All right, let you know the difference of how this woman talk is when you speak upon that because they ain't never got that type of love for sisters, as I say underneath of no criterias of the game. All right, these are the privileges that you are never going to see in these courtrooms. All right, I've seen another young lady that was snatched up, but her circumstances didn't end like this. Anyhow, what you call it? I want to go back here and actually say something here in the context of Breonna Taylor's case because we were just sitting back here talking about that.
Right.
Breonna Taylor, Breonna Taylor's body was stepped over after she was murdered. Correct? Didn't another SWAT team come in there?
Let me see. I
Because
don't
they
think
had
I
something on the
don't think I
camera.
heard that one.
All right, they said they had I seen it on camera because as they came in there, like official SWAT team that they had, and they had headgear and all this other stuff. All right, like this was the second team or whatever team that was supposed to go in there. When they came in there with all their gear, she was already in the floor here, and the guy stepping over top of her body talking about she's done.
I know there was another group of police officers that came there for the investigation and all that. So that might be what you. I think that might be you. I think that might be it or whatever like that.
These
I know,
guys,
but
these guys came in there. They looked like they had AR-15s and like what you call it, man. If I could go back and find it, it ain't that old. I know it's on YouTube,
right.
but I'll put it up on my channel like a little bit later on.
Okay.
But and that point at that time of seeing a body get stepped over, and I did look to see that video. It shows you the lack of humility that they have for this woman. Period. And those officers are reported to have stolen $1,800 out of her house. Y'all.
What?
You didn't get that story? Yeah, that story's
No.
on YouTube. That's on Vice News. Yep, 1,800.
It don't surprise me they needed that corona check, so they probably was hurting for something. They probably couldn't pay their child support, but it don't surprise me that they'll do some crazy shit like that. We done seen people, plant crack and drugs on people while motherfuckers recording them. So it's just crazy how motherfuckers don't have no remorse about people, but that just goes to show us that we have to stay on our shit when it comes to these white supremacists out here. Cause I'd rather a motherfucker tell me that they don't like me instead of a dude trying to be my friend. Just come out your mouth and say I don't like niggas, and I will reply to you like, thank you. I can deal with you the way I want to if you mess up.
Yeah, but this makes it worse because you in your home. You're a law-abiding citizen. You don't break the law. Your significant other don't break the law. You're comfortable enough, of course, to walk around your home. You pay bills in butt naked. All right. I think about Breonna Taylor. I also think about Tatiana Jefferson. You know, I also think about Botham Jean, because these were all individuals that were black in their crib and got smoked. All right. Absolutely. By race soldiers.
Hey, Santee, so I read this article here from Black Wall Street, no, Black Wall Street Times. They said on the night of the fatal shooting, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, reported $1,000 missing after the Louisville Metro Police shot up and raided their home. It was later discovered that another 14 grand had been taken from their home as well.
Wow. So they took a whole lot more than that
So
here.
they took 15,000.
Yep. But
Oh hell no!
I know they
no.
robbed their home. These were dirtball race soldiers. When they're sitting back here and we played the news clip and they're talking about the extent of dirt between that police department, you're talking about a large core of filthy race soldiers that have been doing things like this for years here, Halts. This is just the
Yeah,
fact that got them caught because they were so sloppy with the
Yeah.
they ain't
paperwork.
know how to cover their tracks and shit.
Right.
You know,
With
if
the
you gonna be
witnesses.
dirty, you gotta cover your tracks. You just can't be out here just leaving shit stains everywhere and stuff. But it doesn't surprise me that they tried to take that money. They probably needed it for their meth budget. You know.
Kenneth Walker said that on his way to the station, because he said he ain't had no socks or shoes on or something like that, or he just had his socks on. He got him out of the car, and some detective walked up on him and asked him if he was all right and started treating him all friendly. They got a lot of raggedy stuff here in this process. And from that message alone, with it, like this, the interview we had with Gail King, it lets you know a lot of sneaky and dirty stuff was taking place. Like I say, her ex-boyfriend, what was his name, Jamal or Jamel, whatever the brother's name.
Jamarcus Glover.
What's his name?
Jamarcus Glover. Now that dude already in the beam.
Yeah, but Jamarcus Glover held it down like a G, because he could have been a sucker there and to get himself off, because they were going to throw away all charges against him, which they had to end up doing anyway because they ain't had nothing against him anyway. But if he was some type of dirtball, he could have easily said, oh, yeah, I'll say she had something to do with me and drugs. So they can clean up these things. All of these breadcrumbs that are left around, it was more than enough for the feds to be able to collect on this particular group. And when they start talking about the DOJ, Biden's DOJ, and all the extra things they have around, you're talking about a wider span investigation. All right? Because chances are a few of these cats that are being charged, they're already talking. You know these guys are cowards. Look at the stuff that they participate in. All right, crackhead and meth head missions. If they get an opportunity to roll and to snitch on one of their other buddies in there, they're going to do it.
Yeah, they definitely gonna get that Tekashi 6ix9ine on in there, the interrogation room. So you already know they about to be pointing niggas out like they the Temptation. So it don't surprise me. You gonna see some most likely lighter sentences by all these motherfuckers snitching on each other. If you gonna do dirt as a team, go down as a team. You see, when you get in that interrogation room,
And
every
that's what
white
they're
supremacist for
doing.
themselves.
They're making sure everybody in the team gets mentioned here. And trust and believe, y'all, before they doors got kicked in and they were served and all of this stuff happened to them, they were informed weeks ago. You understand what I'm saying? These officers already knew. They was pulled up on and informed weeks ago. All right. These feds let you know when they got you dead to right and will give you an opportunity to kind of come in and start to cooperate so they don't have to make things as tough as they really have to be here, Halls. All right. And they'll give you a little bit of space and time to think, to let you know, because in most cases, they're fair warning you that you're done. So trust and believe. They bringing in this other spot. They're talking about 2 different investigations. That second one where she said she can't really mention too many things about that. All right. That's the one that's the big deal, where you talking about snatching up sergeants and lieutenants and all different types of detectives and what have you, and a few of these raggedy white supremacist beat cops.
Yep. Yep. That shit crazy what's going on, man. I mean that story you told me about the teacher, man. You know what I'm saying? That thing was that shit crazy, bro. And she's only got 6 weeks in jail after all that stuff, man.
Shit, that ain't even a whole summer vacation. She got less time than students be out of school for the summer vacation. Ain't that a damn shame?
6 weeks, and then she don't start the prison sentence for a year.
I'm telling you, man, that white pussy, she done did something to the people that give her that lighter sentence, man. She done put that pussy on the dog. I don't know what the hell going on with these sentences, man.
I don't even think it's all that. I just think she just exercised her white privilege, man. That's all that is.
Yeah, that too. I didn't mean to do it. We just grew to know each other. He's 13 though, man. He don't know better.
All you gotta do is go to court, cry some crocodile tears and whatnot. Get the jury and the judge to be sympathetic towards you, and then you get your desired result.
Have the coon ass parents or one of their relatives hugging the victim that shot your son in the head 14 times. You know, you have to have the whole shebang bang at the courtroom.
So, yeah, man, that shit crazy, man. But yo, I'm gonna get up out of here because I gotta go to the auto hobby shop before they close at 5 o'clock. So I gotta get on up out there. But hey, go subscribe to Eric Johnson.
I'll be going live, brother, and thank you so much. I appreciate everybody in attendance. I'll be going live actually now on my channel, Black King 1988. So you guys can go check me out there. Please make sure that you go and subscribe. Once again, that's Black King 1988. I'll be going live on my backup channel. Thank you, brother.
Hey man, all day, man. So
thank you to everybody on the panel.
Respect.
All right, thank you to
come back anytime.
Yes, indeed, man. And you know you're more than welcome to come on my platform at any time, any moment. You already know the deal.
That's right. All right, bro.
Much love.
Come your business, bro. You know what I'm saying? Right. B1 LDBC all day, baby.
Yes, indeed.
If you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. This your man. Scream at me. Oh!